Hello! In this episode, we'll explore different damage types in Hero Wars. We'll go over their pros and cons and explain which of them work best in certain situations. Welcome to the new episode of Guardian's Guidebook. There are 3 damage types in Hero Wars: physical, magic, and pure damage. The type of damage an ability deals is usually determined by the secondary stat the ability relies on. Physical attack translates into physical damage. The same goes for magic attack and magic damage, while pure damage abilities may rely on either of these stats. You can easily tell the type of damage by their color in the description of an ability and during the battle. Physical damage is red, magic damage is purple, and pure damage is white in the battle, but green in the description to distinguish it from the rest of the text. The most common type is physical damage. Usually favored by warriors and marksmen due to their high agility stat, it is also, with a few exceptions, the damage type of Guardian's basic attacks. Being the most common damage type, physical damage has several countermeasures as well as enhancements. As you may remember from previous episodes, physical damage is reduced by opponent's armor, which in turn is negated by armor penetration. Hence, this type is an invaluable tool against targets with low agility and armor. For example, Orion, Amira, or God. Critical hit chance and dodge special stats also interact with physical damage in their own ways. Critical hit chance determines the likelihood to deal double damage with any outgoing instance of physical damage. Dodge, as the name suggests, provides Guardians with a chance to avoid incoming physical damage altogether. If you are struggling against physical damage dealers, consider using Guardians that apply the blind negative effect. Blinded enemies will miss their attacks, failing to deal physical damage for the duration of the effect. Magic damage, the primary type for mage and support Guardians, is a bit less common than physical damage. Only 3 Guardians inflict magic damage with their basic attacks. Satori, due to his ultimate ability. Celeste, in her dark form with Zenith. And Morrigan, the only Guardian whose basic attacks deal magic damage by default. Magic defense and penetration work just like armor and armor penetration do, making magic damage efficient against targets with low intelligence and magic defense stats. Crit and dodge, on the other hand, do not interact with this type. This means that although magic damage cannot be critical, it also cannot be dodged, making it even more useful against dodge-reliant Guardians like Dante, Chinmao, or Elmir. Silence is a go-to negative effect against teams that rely on magic damage. Silence Guardians are temporarily unable to use skills that deal magic damage or abilities that depend on the magic attack stat of the affected hero. The last, but certainly not the least, is pure damage. This type is the rarest, as only about a dozen heroes possess it, but arguably the most efficient. The thing is, pure damage completely ignores defensive stats like armor or magic defense, causing your opponents to receive the full amount of damage. This makes pure damage universally useful against enemies with any defensive secondary stats. As is the case with magic damage, both dodge and critical hit chance do not affect pure damage. It cannot deal a critical hit, but neither can it be dodged. However, this damage type is affected by silence, as some of pure damage abilities use magic attack to calculate the damage. As you can see, each damage type has its own strengths and weaknesses. Being aware of the damage types your Guardians deal and ways to counter the enemy pack is the key to victory. Experiment with different team compositions to know which works best in certain encounters and try to use the opponent's weaknesses to your advantage. Thank you for your time. See you in the next episode of the Guardian's Guidebook.